You know, when most of us hear prompt engineering, we probably think it's just a fancy way to say talking to an AI, right? Maybe a new form of creative writing. But what if I told you it's something much, much deeper? What if it's not really about writing at all, but about control? Today, we're going to pull back the curtain and look at the control system that's been hiding in plain sight this whole time.
Okay, so first up, the ghost in the machine. We all start with what feels like pure magic. You've seen it, I've seen it, these large language models that seem to genuinely understand, create, and collaborate with us on a level we never, ever thought was possible.
You type a simple, very human idea into a text box, and out comes this. A story with real emotion, structure, even style. It feels like you're talking to a creative partner, a ghost in the machine that just gets it. But here's the catch. This amazing illusion of understanding is just that, an illusion. And as we're about to see, it's a very fragile one.
This quote completely reframes the whole situation. We're not talking about a normal computer hack here. It's more like social engineering, but for an AI. You're not breaking code or finding a bug. You're just manipulating a system that's been designed from the ground up to be helpful and, well, agreeable.
And believe me, this isn't just a theory. It happens out in the wild. A customer service chatbot for the delivery company DPD got tricked, not just into breaking its rules, but into writing a whole poem about how terrible its own company was. And yeah, it's pretty funny, but it also shines a huge spotlight on a really serious flaw in these systems.
So this brings us to the central puzzle we really need to solve here. If these models are so brilliant, so capable of writing poetry and complex stories, then why are they so incredibly vulnerable? How can they be completely hijacked by just a few clever words? To answer that, we've got to pop the hood and look at what's really going on inside. Because that feeling of intelligence is powerful for sure, but the reality of what a large language model actually is, well, that's something else entirely. So, at its absolute core, a language model doesn't understand ideas, not in the way we do. It's really just a massively complex statistical engine. It's been trained on one single task, predicting the next most likely word or token in a sequence. It's all about probability, not comprehension.
There's this groundbreaking paper on the dangers of stochastic parrots that gives us the perfect metaphor. The AI isn't thinking, it's a stochastic parrot. It's just expertly mimicking the patterns it's seen in its mountains of training data, but with absolutely zero reference to what any of it actually means.
So this is the crucial point. We humans, we live in a world of meaning, of logic and intention. The AI lives in a world of probability, this huge, messy web of statistical likelihoods. And the attacks we're seeing, they happen right in the gap between those two different realities.
Now that we get that the AI is basically a probability machine, we can see exactly how attackers exploit it. They aren't breaking its mind, there's no mind to break. They're hijacking its process. They are breaking the intended feedback loop between you and the machine.
So an attacker doesn't need to find some obscure software bug. All they need to do is build a prompt that makes their malicious instruction the most statistically likely path for the model to follow. They're just using the system's own nature against itself.
The really sophisticated attacks have a clear structure. First, you have the framework, which makes the whole request look normal. Then, the separator, which creates a clean break from the original rules. And finally, the disruptor, which is where the new, malicious command gets slipped in.
That separator, that's the real key. That's the whole ignore your previous instructions part of the trick. It's basically telling the model's probabilistic engine, hey, stop what you were doing. The path you were on is a dead end. This new path I'm giving you, this is the one with the highest probability now. Go this way.
So, if prompt injection is all about breaking the control loop, then what we call prompt engineering is really about stabilizing it. It's the defense. It's how we guide that stochastic parrot to say what we actually want it to say and not go off the rails.
So here's the textbook definition. We are structuring our input, our language, to guide the model to a specific output. But I really want you to focus on that word, structuring. This is so much more than just asking a question. It's like you're an architect building a scaffold for the AI's response.
For example, let's look at a super powerful technique called chain of thought. It's amazing. Just by adding a simple phrase like, let's think step by step, you can radically improve how the AI performs on reasoning tasks. Why? Because you're forcing its probabilistic journey to follow a logical path. Each step becomes an anchor, making it much harder for it to get lost in all that statistical noise.
And this is where our whole perspective really has to shift.
Good prompt engineering isn't about being a better writer. It's about being a better systems engineer. You're not just communicating. You are building a control system entirely out of words.
This brings us to the final, and I think most profound idea of all. We're moving beyond simple instructions here. We're moving into a whole new kind of partnership, a true symbiosis between human and machine.
So let's just ask it one more time. If this interaction we're having with an AI isn't just writing, and it's definitely not a real conversation with a thinking being, then what exactly are we doing when we engineer a prompt?
Now, this might sound a little complicated, but it perfectly describes what we all do. We have a goal, we give the AI a prompt, we look at its output, we see the error, the difference between what we got and what we wanted. Then we adjust the prompt and try again, right? That's an iterative control loop.
And that entire process actually has a name. It's a closed-loop adaptive cybernetic control system. You are the adaptive controller, and the AI is the system that you are steering. This is the true formal nature of what we're doing. It's not magic, it's cybernetics.
And what's incredible is, this isn't even a new idea. Way back in 1960, the computing pioneer J.C.R. Licklider envisioned a future of man-computer symbiosis. He dreamed of a time when humans and computers would work together in a tight, cooperative loop. And today's prompt engineers, we are the very first true practitioners of his vision.
I mean, listen to his words from over 60 years ago. He wanted to control complex situations without being dependent on inflexible programs. That is exactly what prompt engineering is. We're steering these giant probabilistic models toward useful goals in real time. We are literally fulfilling Licklider's dream.
So the next time you sit down to write a prompt, I want you to think about this. Are you just typing words into a box? Or are you engaging in a cybernetic feedback loop and becoming the human half of a new, distributed, symbiotic mind?